All right, today we're diving into a project that makes a pretty audacious claim. It says it has a blueprint to end global hunger. And the way it starts, it's not with a plea for donations, but with an invitation to a challenge. So let's see what this is all about.
I mean, think about it. How do you solve a problem as massive as global hunger? It's one of the biggest questions out there, right? And usually our minds jump to things like massive aid programs or, complex global treaties. But what if the answer was something completely different? Well, the first thing you need to get your head around is this. This project's answer isn't charity, not at all. It completely sidesteps that traditional model. So instead of asking for handouts, it proposes a system, almost like a machine built to solve a social problem. So if it's not charity, what is it? It's an invitation to a challenge. It's framed more like a game, really, a contest, a system that you get to actively participate in. And the prize? Well, it's way more than just winning. It's about building a whole new kind of economy. And this right here, this is the core of that whole challenge. At the very heart of it is this, a 24K treasure chest. You can think of it as the central unit of value in this entire mission, a mission to create a new gold standard, but for nutrition. So the 24K treasure chest, what's actually inside the box? Let's dig in and find out what makes it the foundation of this whole system. Okay, so first things first. When you hear 24K, you're probably thinking of gold, right? Well, in this case, it's not about precious metal. It's a unit of energy. 24K stands for 24,000 kilocalories. It's a very specific, tangible amount of nutrition that's designed to be a kind of universal standard for food security. And inside each one of these chests, you're going to find 60 bars. And the math is super straightforward. You've got 60 bars per chest, and each bar has 400 calories. Do the multiplication, and you get a grand total of exactly 24,000 kilocalories. See? This isn't some vague promise. It's a precise, measurable unit of nutritional value. So why that specific number? Here's why it matters. 24,000 calories, that's enough to provide one person with 2 full weeks of total food security. It creates a baseline for survival, a foundation of stability, no matter where you are in the world. Okay, so we get the what, the treasure chest, but how do you actually win the challenge? Let's get into the rules of engagement. It really breaks down into 4 key steps. Think of it like a game of skill. First, sourcing excellence, finding the right ingredients. Then, mastering the formulation, the recipe itself. Third is market growth, building awareness. And finally, assembling the chest. You get to build it yourself. And what are those ingredients? Well, look how simple this is. You've got dates, whole oats, cacao, peanuts, and sesame seeds. That's it. Just 5 wholesome, accessible ingredients that you can find pretty much anywhere. The whole point is to build this system on a foundation that's natural and totally sustainable. All right, so this whole thing powers what they call the consumer-to-asset engine. But what's the real prize here? What do you get out of it?
Now, this is the absolute core of the mission. It's a 50-50 split. That means for every single commercial bar that's produced and sold, another bar is produced for charitable distribution. It's hardwired right into the system. So your participation is what directly fuels the engine that feeds people.
And this leads to what they call a consumer-to-asset model. The idea is to completely change the game. You're not just a customer buying a product. Your participation actually builds ownership. You become a stakeholder, owning a real piece of the very system you're helping to build. So let's put some real numbers to that. Look at this. For an $18,000 franchise fee, a participant gets an initial inventory that's worth $36,000 at retail value. So right out of the gate, the model is designed to literally double the value of your initial investment. And this is absolutely crucial. That 18 grand isn't just some fee you pay. It's an equity purchase. You're actually buying a stake in a real estate investment trust, a REIT, that's backed by real physical land. So this isn't just about a business. It's about investing in the foundational assets of this whole new economy. So the model works for an individual, but how do they plan to take this from Canada to the world? How is this thing designed to scale? Well, they've laid out a pretty clear 4-phase roadmap. Phase 1 kicks off in Canada, securing that first piece of property for the REIT. Then Phase 2 moves to the UAE to test out factories for mass production. Phase 3 is where they really scale up. And Phase 4, well, that's about building entire royal oasis destinations. And the end goal of all that scaling? It's this number, 2 million. 2 million bars, which is 2 million meals every single day. Now that's a number that could make a real, measurable dent in global hunger. Okay, let's zoom out. When you put all these pieces together, the challenge, the chest, this whole economic engine, what does it all mean? What's the big idea here? They call it a machine for sovereignty. This quote from the project's own material really sums it all up. You're no longer pitching a dream, you're assembling a machine that converts nutrition into sovereignty and food into freedom. The idea is that once this thing is built and running, it just works. It becomes a self-sustaining machine that turns a basic need, food, into personal empowerment and freedom.
So, as you can see, the ambition here is huge. It goes way beyond just a simple food product. The people behind this see it as a potential blueprint for a whole new way of designing civilization, an economy backed by real value, where just by participating, you gain ownership and prosperity gets shared.
And that really leaves us with the big question, doesn't it? The vision is massive. I mean, it connects a simple nutrition bar all the way to land ownership and global food security. So is this a real, viable blueprint for our future? Or is it just a dream that's way too big to ever build? That, I guess, is the challenge they've put on the table.